Yeah. Oh
So
my God.
yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Like, this is why I don't use Instagram so much now, is because honestly, it just makes me feel needy.
yeah,
You know, it's like nothing's ever good enough, and
yeah,
especially now. I mean, Instagram is a business,
hmm,
and it's. I mean, this is a well-worn saying, but you are the product. And at some point they have to make money, and the way they do that is they want you to sponsor posts, they want you to run ads, they want you to
hmm,
buy into that system, and I've seen people I love, like their traffic gets throttled because they're seen as a mark, and I don't know, that would play hell on my self esteem. I'm not like I'm a sensitive man, and
yeah.
I care about that stuff, and it's almost easier for me to like not post it and not worry about it than to post up something I love and feel like I'm desperate for a more robust response.
Welcome to your local Cineplex.
Or my portfolio, like it's almost a little cringy to like look back on what I've done. And I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be like self-deprecating, but it's like
No, no, I totally get it. Yeah, it's
you know,
because you grow.
you grow, and I
Yeah.
think after a certain point, it becomes less about personal growth, which it's like I think when you're starting out more, or you're learning, you're in school, it's like you rate your work relative to yourself and your own progress. So you're younger, you're able to go like, oh, this is what I was doing in high school, now I'm in college, I'm doing this, I've improved a lot, and it feels good. And I think that happens to a degree, and then when you start doing this professionally, you rate yourself in the continuum of everyone who's doing it, and that
Yeah.
becomes a much more intimidating scale. I'm not looking at my work
Yeah.
and going like, good job, Chris, you're better than you were 2 years ago. Yeah, but I was pretty bad 2 years ago. Like, I'm looking at my work and being like, well, how do you compare to,
Right.
like, I don't know who's super dope. Like, it's a good friend of mine, but like Marco Manev, like, I look at his work, and a lot of times he's doing the kind of work I see in my head that I'm not capable of doing. And I look at his work and I look at my own work, and that's not a very flattering comparison for me. Like, in that case, I suck. And
Right. Yeah. It's
but that's how you, like, after a certain point, it's not about like patting yourself on the back. It's about being competitively good. It's about
yeah.
holding your own among anyone you could think of. And I mean, like, I'm glad that Drew Struzan's retired, because make some room for the rest of us. But like, you look at the
Yeah.
poster world right now, and it's like it is the bar is so absurdly high.
It is. It
No matter
is.
like what lane you're working in, because you look right now, Mondo is doing something very different from Bottleneck. Bottleneck is doing something very different from like Hero, or like more like the stuff they're doing now is like amazing. Black Dragon, like, pound for pound, might be my favorite gallery, and it's just like every single gallery is amazing. I can name 100 artists right now who I think would stomp me into bits.
Right.
It's unreal, and
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would want to work in this industry.
I don't know why I do. Well, I either do this or I not happy.
No,
Right.
I know, I'm so with
Yeah.
you there, but
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
god.
but yeah, it's very intimidating because like for me, I'm starting, right? I'm getting into it, and so I look at all these galleries and I'm like, okay, first of all, which one of these do I belong to? And two, do I even belong to any of them? Because looking at this work, I suck.
Yeah,
I can't compete with
I,
this and that.
I know, and the thing that makes it worse is like everyone in the industry is so nice that like
Yeah.
can't even like be mad at people. Like there's so many people I'm like, I kind of wish you were a jerk so I could like dislike your work and like write you off. But no, you're like this industry is so flush with amazingly nice people too.
It is.
It's
So far, everyone I've met has been super awesome, sweet, and just like,
yeah,
I can't hate you.
it's disturbing how nice everyone
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and like how incredibly helpful everyone is. I remember like there's just so many people who have like very actively helped me out in my own career. You know, like Maddie Tobin was like really helped me out with some releases a few years ago, and it's like made a huge difference for me. And to him, he's probably doesn't even like remember that, but he'll give you whatever you ask for. You know, it's like people are just so sweet, and you know, for my part, I try to be approachable, I guess. But I mean, you know, I would still consider
Right.
myself like a fairly low tier poster artist as far as all that's concerned. So it's like, you know, I'm not worried about that.
Well, from my perspective, you definitely have you've like met everything that I'm striving to be. So I'm like, okay, yeah. You see yourself as low tier, but I'm like, no, you're up there, dude.
I,
You're in this gallery. You're working with Universal. As far as I'm concerned, you could say you made it.
I feel like you know, if there is a Mount Everest in the poster world, I am at base camp sipping hot cocoa and growing my
Yeah.
and this good hot cocoa. So I'm happy to be there. You know, it's also I feel like it's an industry that you see a lot of people, a lot of brilliant people, and a lot of more beginner people tend to burn themselves out very quickly because it's a hard industry to survive in, and it's a hard industry to stay motivated in a lot of times. And I'm not playing this for the short game. You know, like this is my job, this is my life, and I think longevity requires kind of a different mindset and a different type of pacing. The way some people approach this, and you know, it makes me sad sometimes. It's like some of my favorite artists, you don't see them doing it anymore, and it's like it makes me sad that they might not enjoy it anymore, or that the industry might have like burned them out a bit, or the collector community might have burned them out a bit, or just like the hassle of it. You know, it's not easy. It's exhausting work, and I want to keep doing it in a way that feels good and is sustainable.
Yeah. I think that it all depends on making sure you're doing it for you and what you're passionate about
Yeah,
versus what's hot in the market right now.
yeah. I think a lot of people, like newer people in the industry too, aren't as strategic with how they go about it as they could be, and that also like leads to this just like overwhelming glut of work, good and bad. I mean, I think there's
Yeah.
so much good stuff out there and so much stuff that's like maybe not as great out there. It's just like a torrent. I think like, I mean, I love AMP. Like those guys are my favorite people in the world. They're so cool. They're so nice, and they've been really good to me. Like if I look at all those things on a daily basis, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I one thing which I never want to be is jaded. Like I never want to be jaded, and I do feel that coming on sometimes. You know, I feel like sometimes I just like look at too much poster work from other people, and it's all good, and you could only, you know, you get oversaturated with good
Yeah.
stuff.
That happens a lot for me. Yeah. I get
Yeah.
oversaturated with it and just like I get those little moments of like, what's the point?
Oh yeah, you're right in the thick of it
Yeah.
too. You're like reaching out to people and like immersing yourself and like researching, and you have to. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's valuable, but you also don't want to like lose your own voice
Yeah.
in babble. You don't want to lose your own inspiration because you're so exhausted from looking at other people's inspiration.
Yeah, you have definitely had a point there of newcomers of like putting so much out there because it's hard to find like a target. Like, what should I focus on?
Yeah,
So,
what you were saying is I think the right way to go about it though is like I think a lot of people see like Instagram as their sole like marketing channel and like their sole means like completely in itself to have a career in this industry. And I mean I'm an old dude shouting at the cloud. But like, I personally, in all my like curmudgeonliness, I don't think that is the most effective way to get work, and I don't think it's the most effective way to form strong bonds to people in the industry. I mean, I think like social community over like Instagram and Twitter, like, or Discord, like that's great, but like as a marketing channel, it's not the best channel. It's not the best thing to solo, especially. And I think just blasting work out and hoping everyone sees it is maybe not the best way to go about it.
Yeah, it sometimes, for the most part, it feels more, it has negative response. At least for me, it makes me feel like I'm not good because I'm not getting the interaction I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
yeah,
I couldn't agree more. Like, this is why I don't use Instagram so much now, is because honestly, it just makes me feel needy.
yeah,
It's like nothing's ever good enough, and
yeah,
especially now. I mean, Instagram is a business, and this is a well-worn saying, but you are the product. And at some point they have to make money, and the way they do that is they want you to sponsor posts, they want you to run ads, they want you to buy into that system, and I've seen people I love, like their traffic gets throttled because they're seen as a mark, and I don't know, that would play hell on my self-esteem. I'm not like I'm a sensitive man, and
yeah,
I care about that stuff, and it's almost easier for me to like not post it and not worry about it than to post up something I love and feel like I'm desperate for a more robust response.
right,
I don't like feeling needy, and I really appreciate everyone who's ever like appreciated and purchased a piece of mine, or looked at it or commented. But at the end of the day, this has to be for me.
yeah, yeah,
The second I start making work to like feed a machine or feed an audience, I think I lose the beat of who I am and
right,
why I want to do this.
hmm,
And I've seen other people get caught up in that, and that wouldn't make me happy.
that's why. Yeah, it's just the sadness that comes with trying to do it through social media. That's partly why I started this podcast, because I was like, okay, I want to actually connect with other artists who are, from my perspective, successful and are doing it, and be like, hey, let's connect, let's talk. I want to pick your brain. What advice do you have, type thing. So this is my way of doing it, and hopefully getting a more healthier outlook on it.
Well, this is like having a real conversation is all the difference, because
Yeah.
I think there is like a lot. Social media really engenders like one-way communication, or communication that's so overly simplified, like where you're looking at metrics and it becomes more quantitative than qualitative. And
Yeah.
it's I would rather have a real conversation with a fellow artist than have 10,000. I've never gotten 10,000 likes, but like then have like thousands of likes on an image. Like that's a number. It's a number that doesn't mean anything. At the end of the
Yeah.
it just doesn't really mean anything. Versus like actually talking to someone. The other day, Hero Complex was having like their 4th of July sale. And anytime those places have sales, I'm like, all right, I'm in. So I was browsing their site, and I came across these pieces by this artist named Michael Rogers, and like knocked me flat on my ass. They were so good. And I just, of course I bought one, but I went on Instagram and I just like found him and hit him up. And I was like, dude, your work is so good. And ended up having just like a great conversation with him. Now I would hope he would see me as like a colleague, and
Yeah.
I think that's really valuable. So many of my good friends in this poster world are just people like I respected, and
Right.
like I have a group called Billing Block, and it was like It's David Henry Lance, Benedict Woodhead, House Bear, and Little Troublemaker. And they're all people I look up to. I think like Benedict Woodhead is like one of those artists where every time he drops a piece, I kick myself for not thinking of that concept first.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so good. And it's so cool to be able to like talk to people as a colleague and a friend that you respect and look up to. That's like the best part of it,
Yeah, that's definitely. That's how I will see this podcast as successful, is how many people I can bring on and consider colleagues, consider friends. That's how I know it's working. It's that's what I'm getting out of it versus viewership.
I am in that camp with you. We're homies, so
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Homies, I'd like to go ahead and finish it up with you sharing your top 3 movie posters.
Oh my god, I only wrote 2 down.
And movies.
Okay, so I think top movie posters. I'm gonna go alternative movie posters on this. So, and God, I'm gonna butcher this name so bad because I have friends who are French, and this artist is Belgian, and they laugh at me when I say his name. Yeah, I'm like embarrassed to even try. Laurent Durieux.
Sounds good to me.
There's a better way to pronounce it. His Days of Heaven piece is been hanging in my studio for forever, and it's incredible. And I love Terrence Malick, and like Terrence Malick is one of my favorite directors. In my mind, it's a perfect piece. It's like communicates on an emotional level, a conceptual level, and an aesthetic level, all in like complete harmony. Absolutely beautiful. And like that's one of the pieces I'm looking at right now. It's like I'm happy to look at it every day. Jonathan Burton's Invisible Man is brilliant. Like so absolutely brilliant, like conceptually. But
yeah,
I think the thing with Jonathan Burton is he's like a very strong visual thinker. But he's also, this is one thing I like most in artists, is people who just draw,
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be critical of like any other artist, but like a lot of people these days are very much like find a production still or a screen cap and just trace it in a composition. And they kind of act as human Photoshop, which to me isn't visually interesting. And I totally respect that approach, and I understand why people would like it. It's not for me. I like people who draw. And Jonathan Burton is someone who just draws. Like, he can draw like a maniac. And his pieces are so tactile. Love it. Okay, number 3. I will say Jess Siemens, Watership Down. That piece is... I think Jess Siemens is like maybe my favorite poster artist, period. She's like, she's another person who just can draw, and her pieces are so unique and beautiful and rich and complex, and they make me feel like a kid. And her Watership Down is, I think it was for Black Dragon, right? Do you know that piece?
No.
It's like a jump. Everyone who's listening, look up this piece. It's like a jumping rabbit made of thousands of rabbits, and okay. Of all artists, I own the most of her, Daniel Danger, and Oliver Barrett, and Marco Moniv. Like I would say those artists I own. Like that's half my collection right there. So, but I think that piece is just brilliant. And then also I'm going to add a 4th just because I thought of it, is Gab's Prometheus. Is like, that's a movie. Okay, this is how good that piece is like, I do not like that movie at all, and it's one of my favorite posters. And if you could have a gorgeous poster for a bad movie, that's an accomplishment. That movie's not good.
That is.
But holy cow, that poster is so good. I mean, Gabs is like, he's just doing it right now. That piece though is even among his body of work, I think is special.
Hopefully one day.
So that's 4. Right? I gave you 4.
Yeah.
Okay, top 3 movies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you 4 because
Perfect.
we're gonna get a theme going. I will say the movie that influenced me the most as an artist is The Night of the Hunter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Charles Laughton, only movie he ever did. Classic love, hate. But that movie, visually, I think changed the entire way I thought about imagery and value and light and shadow. And it's just that mixture of surrealism, Southern Gothic, and German Expressionism that just like made my head explode the first time.
That's a cocktail.
It is a cocktail, and somehow it works against all logic. That movie works. Also, I love Lillian Gish, and she's so good in that. Night of the Hunter. That's would be maybe my number 1. Number 2, The Fountain. Darren Aronofsky.
Okay.
Movie's just beautiful, and why are there not more posters for that? I just got a really good one the other day. I can't remember the artist, but The Fountain is holy cow. I mean, that movie is another one. Like I think it's so much more than the sum of its parts. Brilliant movie, beautiful. I mean, Clint Mansell and did the score with Mogwai and Kronos Quartet, and it's like landmark score for me. Yeah, that's a perfect movie. And then 3, I would say Harakiri, the original one.
Okay.
Another movie where I think it's like the blocking and pacing are perfect. The cinematography, the story. I would say it's my favorite samurai movie, but it's like an anti-samurai movie, so I don't even know.
Right.
Where it fits, but God, it's a good movie. It's like, I like movies that are very like meaningful, but still entertaining.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that like wrecked me, but I didn't enjoy watching. I think that one is like also. I mean, that's not Kurosawa, but like Kurosawa also has that kind of middle ground between making blockbusters that are art house movies. And okay. I like people that do that. I mean, you see a little bit of that now. Like Denis Villeneuve is like that, right? He makes blockbuster art house movies. God bless that man.
He does. Yeah.
Give him whatever he wants. And then for number 4, I would say Mirror by Tarkovsky.
Okay.
I'm a Tarkovsky nerd. I know that's probably fashionable to say, but he does it for me in every way. And I think Mirror is one of those movies where the first time I saw it, it was like it just connected with me at a very primal level where like I don't think I intellectually knew anything that was happening. But have you seen that movie?
No, but I've heard of it.
There are like single scenes in that movie that I will probably be thinking about on my deathbed. It's that movie. Well, it's really good. So yeah. Those would be my 4.
Well, there you have it, folks. Top 3 movies, and I think it's that's my version of the old show, The Actor Studio, with
James Lipton.
Yeah, and
yeah.
it was like how he ended his show with a couple of questions. So that's my version of that one.
Okay, yeah.
So
I can't think of a swear word off the top of my head. That's a good one.
So anyways, thank you so much, Chris, for chatting with me on Your Local Cineplex.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, and I can't wait to see what work you have cooking.
Oh, I hope I have a lot, and hopefully it's successful.
Yeah, I'm going to do a shout out to you. Look up his work. So.
Yes, please. I'm very appreciative of any support I can get.